Enduring the wilds of life and literature, one step at a time. Welcome back, Mere Mortalites, to another edition of the Mere Mortals book reviews. You've got one here, your host, and I'm going to be reviewing Endure by Cameron Haines, how to work hard, outlast, and keep hammering, with a foreword by Joe Rogan. Now, let's get stuck into it. This individual, firstly, on the author side of things, came up as probably for a lot of people on Joe Rogan podcast. Then I followed up on following him on a few social platforms. I really enjoyed the type of individual that Cameron Haines is. So he's a father. He is a runner. Let's just really call it out of them. But ultimately, and as we start to see in this book, he's a bow hunter, massive passion for bow hunting. And I think a lot of the things that he does day to day, week to week, year in, year out is to further his bow hunting skills and prowess. But just the mentality that he had, the way that he showcased who he was, I went, this seems like a pretty interesting individual. I like when I'm hearing him in podcasts. He had this book, Endure, and I went, yeah, I need to catch that one, have a bit of a read, see how it goes. So what is Endure about? So it actually sets out to be more than just a narrative. It's an experience. Through a compilation of images, quotes, and personal anecdotes, Cameron Haines seeks to take the reader on a journey alongside himself. Through the highs of his countless marathons and the precision of bow hunting, to the philosophy of endurance that permeates his life. Now, the book structure, however, may leave the readers feeling a bit queasy. And when I say queasy because the book, in large part, is as he calls it actually, part memoir, part motivational manifesto. But it bounces around a lot. And so I don't mind this all the time, right? And I don't mind this too much when it comes to a book of what it does. Because in principle, a general book that bounces around, it still has a particular intent behind it, let's just say, when it's presenting information. And look, I'm not going to be undercutting it. Yes, the large stream of, idea or information that you're getting from the book is motivation, partly manifesto, and a bit of a biography around who Cam is. However, it does tend to jump between stories and different ideas very quickly, very abruptly, and it leaves me feeling slightly queasy when I was reading through this particular book. And as it steps through and actually looking into the book itself, the chapters are structured, again, if I'm talking about motivational things, you'd imagine what the sort of structure of the chapters would be. It is, here we go. Cam splits it out into prey, predator, the ultimate predator, and then that's basically it. But within then, there's conversations around suffering and the chapters and the structures. But the noticeable thing was, it felt like Cam was trying to keep a chronological aspect to this particular book and the stories that were being shared, but that was failing. It just wasn't working, at least to me, very effectively. It sort of jumped between, here's a little bit of a story with an image associated to it, but that image is actually associated to a story from 13 pages later on the actual book, or it's referring to something a little bit earlier, and then it'll jump quickly to a motivational piece. One of the other aspects I was finding as well in this particular book is that it repeats itself quite often. So that's the other piece. It's a quite repetitive book. So yes, in motivational books in general, you're going to get that. You're kind of going to get that repetitive nature regardless. But there was quite a bit of that in this particular book where it might have been running. Something like, again, running comes up a lot in this particular book, whether it's from some of his initial runs all the way through to his 240 miles and everything in between. There was a lot of that, but there was a lot of recalling the level of pain or the suffering that it takes to do this particular aspect, or how it benefits bow hunting. But it wasn't all in one section, nor was it addressed maybe super adequately in just one go. It was kind of like a little bit here, and a little bit in page 27, and a little bit of page 49, a little bit of page 82, where it kind of left me when I would read it again and re-pick it up again, going, wait a minute, did I just read the exact same thing back then? That goes across. So personally, I think maybe just along those lines, queasiness. There's a bit of queasiness with this book. But the premise of the book, So talking about the premise of it and just talking about those parts, prey, predator, and being the ultimate predator, really just follows along Cam's experience and background around beginning his bow hunting passion, I would say, where he got that from, the comrades that he built, the quite sad stories that he presents in this book as well, some of the ways that he was raised in his family, the challenges, and what ultimately made him who he is today. Similar to a David Goggins book, there's a little bit of that story arc of what happened, why did it happen, how did he change, how he got himself structured into this, and many more things. The book also is, and the way that he called it out, there's parts, and within those parts there's chapters, and then within those chapters there's call outs as well. And I did really enjoy those call outs. So chapter, as you'd imagine, just structuring some aspects of chronological order of his life, but also some motivational posts, if you will, or quotes or ideas or thought processes, to then a call out. And the big call outs were usually 1 to 2 pages, bolded, so you can tell that it's different. It's the stronger emphasis, and it's very motivational, much more aligned to, hey, I don't give a fuck what you're doing, just do it, just don't quit, we're going to keep doing, I'm going to run, if you're going to run this and whatnot, it's going to make it happen. If I was to pick one at random, which is actually quite easy to find, given that they are, and I'll just show it to the camera here as well, they're usually with a bit of an image sort of in the background. I'll talk through just quickly on Nobody Cares. I'll only do a third of this. You make a good shot this season, nobody cares, work harder. You miss this season, nobody cares, work harder. You got a promotion at work, nobody cares, work harder, etc. So those were 1, motivational, 2, like a nice breakup in the chapters as well. And that goes out throughout the entirety of the book. While it does appear to be a thicker book as well, Endure has a lot of images, which I enjoy. They're not color, they're all black and white, or at least a copy that I've got. I don't know if that's a different thing. There's a couple of quotes, as I mentioned, throughout these ones as well, that kind of gives you reference of what that image is. And holy heck, I'm glad it does, because it largely doesn't actually map up to what you're reading in the particular page next to it or the pages around it. I'm not going to find a specific example here off the just cuff, but there was quite a few where I went, what is this image for? I don't even know what it's in relation to. So that's kind of a couple of takes from that perspective. One of the keys I'd probably call out about this book is that, so I've listened to Cameron Haines' podcast, which he does have a podcast. Awesome. Cool. I really enjoy listening to a few of those, not all of them, just what I find interesting. Great talker. He's able to articulate himself fine. You've seen him in videos before as well. Fine. He's totally fine in that perspective. However, I don't know what it is about a book format. And he actually did say that he was a writer. He did write quite a few bow hunting stories in the past as well. Maybe they're good. Maybe they're different. I'm not actually sure. But I just didn't really vibe the way that he would write or present information in the entirety. Like if I looked at it as a whole, as a book, I came away with 2 things. One, motivated by the parts that were meant to be motivational, sure. And then largely skipped by the other chronological aspects. Was it in part because while I can see the benefits and the value of bow hunting, I don't do that personally day to day, right? I haven't tried. Maybe if I tried, I might enjoy it. Maybe I wouldn't. But there was a lot of bow hunting in here, as you might expect from someone like Cameron Haines, being one of the best or best bow hunter in the world. It just wasn't for me in that regard. So I found myself, yes, very much at the beginning of the story, of the book, focusing in, reading through everything. But I was more and more aware that I kind of just started just not reading small sections of the page all the way through. Okay, hey, this chapter, I'm going to skip it altogether. I don't think there's, for me, anything I'm taking away. I'm just kind of largely getting bored. And I think it's just because it's the theme or the topic, right? So that's just what also comes about in terms of what I enjoy and not enjoy. So if you do enjoy that, obviously take that into account. Who's going to resonate with? So, and again, who's going to read it? It's going to be someone who's already familiar with Cameron Haines and his persona. I think if you're a fan of bow hunting or prowess, if you enjoy ultra running activities, which definitely is in there, quite a bit of the conversations around ultra running, that was awesome. I really enjoyed reading that. Or really, structured, motivating speeches. If you're that sort of person who you want that in a book, this does have it in spades. So it is enjoyable for that. So yeah, if you're intrigued by the human body and the mind and all that sort of mindset, parts and parts, you'll find it in here. Is it the best book for that? No. I haven't read any at all beyond this bow hunting books. Would I say this is maybe the one of the better bow hunting books out there? I have literally no idea. I'm immortalized. You tell me if it's a good one, if you've actually read it before. Would I reread this? No, I wouldn't. There's books that I have in the past or in my library that I would. No, I wouldn't reread, especially cover to cover. Absolutely no way. What I would do is go and find those, as I mentioned, those kind of like motivational soliloquies, those more single page, 2 pages within the parts that go, okay, yeah, I could see this being a piece that I could just reflect on. But largely, probably not something that I would really go and look back at as well. They're called the call-outs. So the different call-outs, because maybe you're interested in that as well, is love the struggle, start dreaming and start living, dream bigger, achieve more, find your edge, easy sucks, nobody cares, preparing for the pack out, thank you critics, find confident being uncomfortable, must be nice, stay on the path, listen to the hate, there's enough cake for everyone, and love one another. Yeah, there was also, interestingly, you might not have expected this from this book because I didn't, was towards that part where I was talking, I mentioned it in the, where is it? In one of the call-outs, which was listen to the hate, and then there's enough cake for everyone. Around that like page 200 around here, there was a big, not tirade, but big call-out where I guess he was kind of answering frequently asked questions to himself around how he deals with the hate, with people saying, hey, you're terrible for bow hunting, you're terrible for doing this, or how could you not possibly do that? Now, full frank, I'm just going to say, Cam can do, and anybody can do whatever the hell they want, right? It's to their own perspectives and passions and love, right? Each to their own. But I did find that he spent quite a lot of time just presenting his views like, oh, why you shouldn't care. Hey, these people just must hate themselves. I don't really enjoy it. More than I thought. And I went, this didn't feel ultimately like one of those like everlasting books that you might pick up 200 years from now and be like, oh yeah, you have to read that one. Feels like an in the moment book. Feels like just a different glimpse, although altogether not that great of a glimpse into Cameron Haines' life. In fact, I think after reading this book, before reading this book, I'd listened to a couple of conversations that Cameron Haines has had on podcasts, and afterwards watched a couple of videos. And honestly, I probably got more out of those than I did from reading this entire book, even though I did highlight a couple of items, which I'll pick up in the actual quotes and the learnings from the book. I kind of went, I think I just not as valuable as I thought it would be. So for me at least personally, I gave it a 6 out of 10 as a book. I don't know if you mere mortalites out there have read the book as well. Let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts. Do you like Cam? Do you not? Did that influence the book? It didn't necessarily influence my view. It just helped me see it in a different lens. And for me, it was an all right book. So it's going to go up there in my library. Probably not going to get picked up for a very long time, if at all. And we'll see what that actually means if I give it away to someone else, etc. That's it for now. Me and Mortalites, thank you very much for sticking around for the Endure by Cameron Haines, how to work hard, outlast, and keep hammering on, which is what we do here at the Me Mortalites. If you want to support us, do all the good things, Boostagram, stream through, and then the good podcasting players out there. Leave some comments, share it around. It's all appreciated for now. Thank you very much for your time. Me and Mortalites, hope you are well wherever you are in the world. One out.